I have criticized you on this as well. You are running up enormous debts.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
No, you're trying to turn.
So breaking news, Donald Trump just wrapped up a town hall with a hostile journalist over at Bloomberg, and it was certainly entertaining to say the least.
How about this? Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California.
Newsom.
He signed Newsom, I call him.
Yeah. But do you think?
No, he corrected me. He corrected me. I said, that's the first time I've been corrected.
There are CEOs out here. If they said those sort of things about a rival CEO, they'd be sacked. Do you think it's fine for a president?
But they don't have to survive like me. They don't have to go through what I have to go through. There has never been a president that's been treated like me, so I have to fight my own way.
Well, you made a.
Imagine still moralizing over Trump's mean nicknames 8 years later into this thing. Give me a freaking break. Are you serious? But yeah, to summarize here, that is essentially what Trump was dealing with the entire time. But the funniest part is a lot like that black journalist event he did a couple months ago. The entire crowd is on his side, as you can hear. And it's pretty hilarious to watch the mainstream media get booed out of the building at their very own event. But ironically enough, Kamala Harris on the flip side has spent the past couple of weeks claiming that Trump is scared of the media, Trump is hiding away from the world, but meanwhile, she actually turned down the invitation to do this and discuss her own economic plan with Bloomberg. That's right, despite suddenly pretending to be a transparent candidate that actually talks to people and does interviews, Kamala Harris declined the invitation to this very same event.
I want to ask you about something you posted on social media that is related to this. You posted a side-eye emoji in response to Trump dropping out of a planned interview with CNBC, alluding again to Trump's mental fitness. Now, the vice president was invited to appear with them but declined. She also declined to be at that Bloomberg conversation, or to have a conversation with Bloomberg, I should say. She also declined an interview with Time magazine. Declining media hits really isn't an indicator of mental fitness, is it?
Well, I think anybody who thinks that the vice president's dodging tough questions should tune in tomorrow when she sits down with Fox News for an interview. And so I think she's out there taking questions even from really tough corners. Today, his appearance at Bloomberg was the first event he has done in one entire month with a mainstream media outlet. Everything else has been in conservative media or friendly spaces.
The Fox News interview, which by the way is with Brett Baer, so I would hardly call that conservative, but even if you want to go down that path, every single interview she has done in this election cycle has been at a friendly outlet. CNN, MSNBC, The View, ABC, CBS, who literally edited her interview to make her sound better, call her daddy. Yeah, that's extremely hard-hitting stuff. But again, just going to point that out because it's pretty funny and completely debunks the entire talking point that Donald Trump is scared to face tough questions, while Kamala Harris is literally the one who said no to this very event. But that said, now I want to get into reacting to some of this town hall itself. And let's start right here where Trump defends his economic record against Bloomberg. And by the way, if you're wondering why Kamala was scared to do this event, it's probably because, first of all, her economic plan is totally incoherent. She can't decide what exactly it is. And beyond that, she can hardly find the words to defend it. Take a listen.
You said, President Trump, at the moment there is a thing called the Trump trade in the markets. Do you know what that is? The Trump trade is very simple. People are betting that your policies are going to drive up debt, they're going to drive up inflation, so they're going to drive up interest rates. Are the investors wrong?
Yeah, I had 4 years no inflation. I had 4 years no inflation.
But that was when you had much.
I had 4 years. It's better than that. And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is.
By the way, boom, there you go. But you're going to drive up inflation. That's the best thing about this election is when it comes to Trump, and frankly, Kamala as well, especially back when it's Trump and Biden, but Kamala's the VP, so you really can still say the same. Again, she went on The View and said she wouldn't do anything differently from Biden. So the best part about this election is we have a side-by-side. We've had 4 years of Trump. We've had 4 years of Biden-Harris. Okay, compare the record on inflation, on immigration, on foreign policy and wars. It's really that simple. And assuming the American people vote with this in mind, and you got to frame that correctly, but if they do, if that's what this election is about, then it is an easy victory for Trump. But let's keep listening.
Okay. Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken sailors. They spent so much money. It was so ridiculous, the money they were spending. They were spending on the Green New Scam. The Green New Scam, the Green New Deal, you know, it was conceived of by AOC +3. She never even studied the environment in college. She went to a nice college. She came out, she just said, the Green New Scam. She just named all these things.
But President Trump, the issue at the moment, the markets are looking at the fact you are making all these promises. Latest one was car loans. You're flooding the thing with giving giveaways.
But we're going to grow.
I was actually quite kind to you. I used 7 trillion. The upper estimate is 15 trillion. People like the Wall Street Journal, who's hardly a communist organization,
but you don't know.
They have criticized you on this as well. You are running up enormous debts.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people.
But you're wrong. You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff. You've been wrong. Now, let me tell you about currency. You're going jumping a lot of.
Yeah.
It's kind of true, though. It really is. Now, following up on this, they tried to grill Trump on his tariff policies. Hey, why do you support tariffs? And Trump has a very brilliant response, which is, I do not support tariffs. And the moderator's like, what do you mean? And Trump provides a very simple solution to the tariff issue. Take a listen.
Tariffs also have another side. Isn't that something that you have to acknowledge?
No.
You could be plunging America into the biggest trade war since Smoot-Hawley.
But there are no tariffs.
You're going to stop. There are tariffs already at the moment.
There are no tariffs. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States, and you don't have any tariffs.
But people, a lot of places like this.
Boom. I mean, that is a brilliant framing, frankly, in my opinion, to the answer. But by the way, folks, if you're enjoying the content, do us a big favor. I forgot to say it, so let me say it right now. Do us that favor by hitting that subscribe button down below. Your subscription, trust me, goes a long way in ensuring we can keep bringing you videos like this. It is the best way you can support the content. And by the way, it's totally free and helps you keep up with the breaking news. All you got to do is hit that red button down below. But, so Trump clearly, on his best game, he always manages to handle these hostile situations, especially against journalists and members of the media, quite well. You think Kamala Harris could do this? No, she would totally implode. She'd totally collapse being faced with tough questions like this. Again, probably a core reason why she turned down this event, because she knew it was going to be live and it could have gone, frankly, anywhere. So we sort of covered mostly the economic questions. Now take a listen as this same guy tries to grill him on Russia, right? Russia. Why are you a Putin sympathizer? What's going on here? And Trump, once again, takes him to school. It's quite hilarious.
These are big things. I have to mention them.
You just mentioned Putin, though.
Yeah.
There's been this controversy of the past week. Can you say yes or no whether you have talked to Vladimir Putin since you stopped being president?
Well, I don't comment on that, but I will tell you that if I did, it's a smart thing. If I'm friendly with people, if I have a relationship with people, that's a good thing, not a bad thing, in terms of a country. He's got 2,000 nuclear weapons, and so do we. China has a lot less, but they'll catch us within 5 years. If I have a relationship, I don't talk about that. I don't ever say it. But I can tell you what, Russia has never had a president that they respect so much, but more importantly, or less importantly, I guess, I went into Russia and people said, oh, he likes Putin and Putin likes him. Let me tell you, the first thing I did was terminated Nord Stream 2.
Boom. And if you watch the full clip here, Trump basically goes on to explain the whole Nord Stream situation. And that is such an important point, because despite all of this talk that Trump is soft on Russia, he's an enabler of Putin. I mean, first of all, the most obvious talking point is, well, when did Putin invade Ukraine? Was it under Trump's presidency or Biden/Harris's? We know the answer to that. And you know that little statistic about how Trump is the only president in recent history where Putin did not invade a new country when he was president. But also this point about Nord Stream 2 is so important. If you don't know what that is the, gas pipeline. That is, the fossil fuel pipeline between Russia and Germany. Trump vocally opposed this and basically tore the whole thing up. Why? Because the situation he saw was exactly what Russia has done ever since Biden decided to bring it back like a complete genius, which is that Trump knew if Germany was going to be reliant on Russia for energy, that was going to cause obvious problems, right? By the way, it was going to economically benefit Russia a lot, but he also knew that it enabled what you eventually saw in the war in Ukraine, because while Russia is invading Ukraine and Europe and the West are so pissed, well, one of Europe's most major economies, which is Germany, is literally handicapped and crippled because they depend on who for energy? Russia. Right? So you can stand here and say, oh, we're so opposed to Putin, Trump enables that regime, blah, blah, blah. But the actions of Biden, of Germany, and some of those NATO countries compared to Trump do not actually reflect it, because Trump saw it as obviously a very bad idea. If Russia is a nation where we are supposedly adversarial to, first of all, we should do our best to de-escalate those tensions because we both have nuclear weapons. That is a very sane policy that Trump has always stood for. But on top of that, if the relationship is at least a little bit awkward, which it was, back during the first term of Trump still, then again, maybe you shouldn't depend on a foreign adversary or rival for your entire nation's energy, which is what Germany and a lot of Europe was doing. Maybe you shouldn't depend on China for all of your manufacturing goods, which America historically has done. Trump made a big deal of it, but obviously is still an issue, right? But yeah, there you have it. Overall, a pretty hilarious, entertaining, but also informative town hall. Again, one more time, there's a reason why Kamala Harris could not do this. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch the full town hall, and there are much more clips of it that I think you ought to go and see because we only played a couple here, let me know your thoughts on how you think it went in the comment section down below. Why do you think Kamala was scared? And until next time, be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. God bless and peace.